All right, welcome back, everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another WCS Starcraft 2 replay cast. It's going to be another best of 5 Terran versus Zerg, but I don't want to hear any complaints. If you're a Protoss, sit back and enjoy the show regardless. However, we've got ourselves what should be another fantastic and exciting match to watch. It's between two very good North American players here. Actually, two players who are repping my home country, two Canadians. So let's just introduce them here. The Terran player, spawning in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's MaSa. I believe he's on Team Elevate, I want to say. And then up in the top left-hand side of the map, it's Scarlett. And, yeah, both these players are very, very good players. I mean, Scarlett maybe a little bit more known, just she's a very, very popular player and a very good Zerg. But then MaSa. MaSa's just a treat. You might not know MaSa because it gets joked about here and there. And because MaSa, like, he'll play, it's joked about. I actually remember one of the last jokes that, or a joke that In Control made. And he'd basically always joke with MaSa how he'd be like, oh yeah, MaSa just finally decided to show up and play his one tournament of the year or whatever, and that's kind of true in a sense. Not really, but in a sense. MaSa is one of the guys, he's very, very good at StarCraft 2, but he doesn't show his face that often. And I mean, he does play in tournaments quite a bit, but it's not like we'll see him play in online cups or anything, or post too much on Twitter or anything. And if you're a pro gamer, that's like a pretty big part of it, right? But no, he just kind of does his own thing. He'll show up to WCS, he'll be consistently good in Challenger and everything, and then he'll play in like some other regional tournaments, maybe like a Cheesadelphia here and there, and he plays at like a very consistent level. But yeah, it can be joked that sometimes we won't see or hear from MaSa for a long time, and then he'll come and show up and still just do his regular MaSa thing. And so we'll see how he's going to do versus Scarlett. MaSa and Scarlett are kind of rivals in a sense. It's fair to say the nature of their geography has placed them as rivals. MaSa and Scarlett, both being Canadians, means that they'll meet a lot in like regional tournaments and stuff. And both being top North American players, they'll meet a lot in WCS Challenger, or just even in WCS events sometimes, like this match itself. So they're definitely going to be familiar with each other. We'll see how this match is going to go. I think Scarlett would be considered the favorite typically, but MaSa is one of those players who can take down anyone. Now, we don't get to see MaSa play like European players too often because he really just plays in like WCS Challenger, regional events. Every now and then he'll play off versus a European and do surprisingly well. It could be argued like sometimes he'll surprise other players. But as far as like playing versus players like Scarlett is his bread and butter, and then also, like, and one of the things that I should also point out is that he's very, very good in the sense that he takes games off of Neeb, and he's definitely one of the top North American players, a very, very good Terran, representing that part of the small North American Terran squad. Anyway, it is a best of 5 this game. It's kind of getting going here a little bit. Nothing really has died. However, MaSa is looking to poke on out. This is a very MaSa-esque thing. He's one of those players who plays so bizarre. He's now moving out with 3 Marines and 4 Hellions. Going to be looking to put the pressure on his opponent here. Third command center goes up for MaSa. Meanwhile, he's just rallying Hellions across the map. Going to be bullying Scarlett a little bit here. And this could be a bit tough for the Zerg player. This is one of those odd-timed pushes that I mentioned time and time again, which can sometimes just really catch your opponent off guard. This is not normal. 3 Marines and some Hellions pushing across the map. The Marines kind of buffer there to draw the Zergs out, but the Hellions are still going to keep poking. Scarlett has had to make a ton more links, but look at that. The Hellions just frying them up. And suddenly, MaSa might be getting a bit of damage done here, although hasn't found too much just yet. Might want to dive into the natural or try and get that injured queen. So far, he's just kind of trading out. Will end up getting pushed on out, though, losing a few Hellions. At first, that looked kind of interesting, looked like it was okay. But in the end, I think with losing 1 or 2 more Hellions, I think that works out quite well for Scarlett, because that was 14 Lings and a Queen for 4 Hellions and 3 Marines. Probably worth it for the Zerg. The Hellions are gone, which is very nice. While this is going on behind this, though, we've got MaSa just teching up, being quite a greedy Terran behind this. Third command center on the way. Meanwhile, double eBays after that and double barracks. So just just powering up. Just going to be going into a pretty standard macro game behind this. Scarlett held the first bit of aggression, and I mean, it was kind of odd. She was just like, this is not normal. Because usually if, like, Hellions attack in so committedly, it's usually either, like, a suicide or whatever to try and fry up some drones quickly before getting killed off, or, like, a big Hellbat attack. So a very interesting play there. This Overlord needs to go. Oh, is it going to make it? Oh, God, run. Oh, the Marine gets the Overlord. That hurts for Scarlett. She got that early pneumatized Carapace, of course, to scout out. So she knows what Massa's really doing here. However, still a little bit of a shame losing that Overlord. It turns out that today I just learned that a Marine can catch a slow, can catch an Overlord even with speed. What's the speed there? Let's take a look here. We got a bit of time. 2.63 is the movement speed of an Overlord with pneumatized Carapace, and a Marine 3.15. So the Marine's a little bit quicker. Overseers though, Overseer's quicker than a Marine. In case you're curious, but then the Marine can stem, which basically makes them just run like Usain Bolt or something like that. Anyway, taking a look at this, Scarlett just coming in with an Overseer, really wanting to see what her opponent is up to, which is great. And we're seeing that she's actually going to be going for her 1-1, a little bit behind MaSa because he got very quick ebays, and about 40 seconds or so behind MaSa, 40-50 seconds, and then she's getting up a 4th base and a Spire. But the fact that the Hellions were really killed off, the fact that there wasn't too much early poking, means that Scarlett's creep spread at the front is very good. She is one of the Zerg players who get the absolute best creep spread. And yeah, so we take a look at this. Combat Shield on the way, 1-1 for MaSa. Siege Tanks coming out. Lots of bio, but it is going to go into that Terran dropping. By the way, look at these new War Chest skins. I haven't had enough of a time really to sit back and fiddle with what skins I want to use, but these Medivac ones, it's like a neon sun or whatever. Like it's like a blue star or whatever, just burning bright and blue, kind of melting your eyeballs, like some hot gas burning or whatever, but... Anyway, we'll see. What is Massa able to get done here? I mean, maybe he's looking to get a cancel on the 4th base, and that would be a very nice move. The creep spread takes a bit of time to spread across these bridges. The hatchery has a fair bit of health, but in comes Massa. Can Scarlett react in time? These Lings are going to have to get on in here, but it looks like they should be able to save the hatchery. Massa, of course, is just going to kite back, lift up when he feels he needs to, and gets on out of there pretty quickly. While this is going on, though, the 1-1 is about to finish up for Scarlett, so they'll be equal on upgrades, which is very important, because it means Massa isn't just going to be able to poke and take favorable trades as easily. And then 7 mutas are on the way as well for Scarlett, which will help shut down Medivac. In comes Massa once again, though, going to be looking to nab up a few queens. 1-1 did just finish for Scarlett, though. She's going to be able to repel this Medivac. Massa might be looking for a bit more of a push, though. We see Siege Tanks being elevated on in. And oh, look at this. Scarlett's actually just going a little bit too far off creeps there. I mean, I don't think she expected a tank and some Hellbats on the high ground. Now we take a look, though. Muta's trying to nab up this Siege Tank. That would be a nice find, but Massa, very good reaction there. Saves that tank. The Medivac boost coming in to save the day. Meanwhile, Hellbat's tanking versus these Banelings. This is looking like a bit of a scary push, but I think it's well within the realm of possibility that Scarlett cleans this up, but the 4th base is going to be under fire. Some Banelings may need to go on in. The Mutas want to get that Siege Tank, but Massa appropriately left enough Marines guarding that tank so the Mutas can't just focus it down. Transfuse going down on the hatchery. Scarlett concerned that it's going to get picked off. Look at this. These mutas trying to find a way around. They just want to pick off the 1 siege tank, and it is just that 1 siege tank. So I think Scarlett can take this engagement. Engaging into a tank is never a comfortable thing, but it is just the 1, so that's very good for Scarlett. She's now chasing into these Marines who are splitting off of creep, but I mean, Massa not having as much time as he'd have liked to prepare for that. Baneling's rolling forward, trying not to get shot by the tank, but oh, that tank does get a fatty shot or two there, so getting a bit of value there for Massa. Scarlett does end up repelling the Terran player here, though, and this is looking pretty good for the Queen of Blades here. So we take a look. 82 drones, 71 SCVs. Massa, he's getting up a 4th CC, but it is one of those later CCs, so that was a bit of a committed push from the Zerg there. Scarlett maybe wanting to continue this push going. I mean, this could get very dicey very quickly for the Terran. These Lings are coming on in. The players are equal on upgrades for now. Lings getting a wraparound on the Marines. Muta's working away in the Medivacs. Very nicely done. Looks like Scarlett might overextend a little bit there. Just bleeding off a few more Marines and stuff. While this has gone on, though, she pushed the Terran very far back. Her creep is getting ridiculously close on the front. Massa scans and cleans that up. On Ephemeron, the creep crosses the map very quickly. Scarlett will push the Terran back again once more, though. It would be very good if she could get up a creep queen or two here, just to get the creep moving towards this right position, because you can bet Massa's going to be pushing or dropping that location again. So spreading creep once more, very, very important for the Zerg. Scarlett also wants to spend some of her minerals. She's building up a huge bank. If she turns that all into Zerglings, so that would be absolutely fantastic. She's pushing out across the map, though, once again, going to be nabbing up a siege tank with her mutas. She's lost a fair few this game. Currently 6 have gone down, which is no small amount. But, I mean, she's still up on supply. She's got quite a good army. And Massa, his 4th CC is late. I mentioned how he was getting up a 4th CC, but he was definitely committed to that attack. Looking at the time, which we saw that CC was building, it really should have been a step ahead. It should have been done already by the time that attack was pushed back. But that shows Massa was kind of committed to that. And if there is a Terran player who might not be embracing like the full-on, oh, throw up a 4th CC as you push thing, or before you push thing, it might be Massa, because he's known to be quite aggressive. Baneling's rolling forward, by the way, to try and push back these Marines. In the end, though, Massa, whoa, cleans out all of the Marines, and suddenly Scarlett being pushed back off of her 4th base. She's got supply, but it's mainly in mutas and in production, and suddenly this is looking like a very nasty push from Massa. Scarlett's drones are evac in here. The 4th hatchery still alive, but could very well get picked off. And oh, the greater spire that Scarlett was trying to tech to has been exposed. Baneling's rolling forward, gonna push these Marines back, which is very important. But Scarlett needs to keep spending her money here, because this Terran is kind of getting close to snowballing. Really unexpected, but it's going quite alright for Massa. The mutas are picking off the Marines as they've been spread out, but look at that, more Marines coming across the map here for Massa. Scarlett needs to be concerned right now. Another tank comes forward. Corruptors are on the way. That Greater Spire is just about finished, which will be absolutely huge for pushing back the Terran. But then take a look at this. There's not many Banelings on the ground for the Zerg. 9 just finished up. I think we really need to see some more, some Broodlords or something. That really is what Scarlett needs. She's committed so much to these. The fact that she's lapsed on her army, she needs something. Banelings roll forward, though they potentially get some good connections on the Marines. Though Massa, hot pickup, gets some of them out of there. In come the mutas trying to engage onto this army, but there is a Thor here. Very good versus mutas. The Zerglings and Lings and Banelings trying to push on in. Looks like they will end up pushing this army back once again. Such a close fight there. Massa and Scarlett delivering a fantastic game number 1 here on the map of Ephemeron. So far, Massa, his +3 armor is about to finish up. Might have been a bit of a mistake there. His +3 weapons never started. There is Broodlords out, though, for Scarlett, which is going to be incredibly helpful. It takes quite a few Marines to break through Broodlords, and once there's Banelings underneath, it's pretty much impossible to do with Marines. Now, Scarlett, she does have to be careful, though. The classic thing that happens to a Zerg who's managed to tech to Broodlords is they get pulled apart all over the place, because the Terran will just be like, well, I can't fight the Broodlords head on, so I'm just gonna attack everywhere. So Scarlett needs to be ready. She needs to pay attention to where Terran drops and such could be going out. So definitely needs to be on point with that. She's got just 3 Broodlords. I wouldn't even mind a few more. Like 3 Broods is not that many. It's an okay amount. Like really 3 Broodlords is actually quite a good amount, as it scares the Terran away if you have something else. But Scarlett maybe want to get like a few more. She's getting a bit of a Ling run by, picks off like 2 SCVs, nothing major though. But then, oh, look at this. Yeah, the 4th base of Scarlett going to be under attack here. And these are +2 attack Marines, so they're going to work on this hatchery very, very quickly. That was not canceled. And suddenly we take a look, a drop going down towards the 5th base of Scarlett. Massa getting a lot of damage on their 12 drones going down. This hatchery is toast. Broodlords coming on in, but look at this. Massa charges underneath. The Broodlords with no Baneling buffer or anything just get picked off. Beautifully done there by Massa. Scarlett suddenly losing unit she should not have lost. The Broodlord's supposed to be the anchor point for the Zerg army, and since there was no Lings or Banes underneath them, the Marines actually managed to push forward. And we take a look here. The supply is looking quite scary for Scarlett. She's making 5 more Broodlords, which is very important. She's getting up an Infestor, but her army itself, her supply is really down compared to Massa, and in comes the Blue Terran, who's pretty much just got Marines and Thors here. 1 tank in the mix. I mean, they may just be able to get underneath these Broodlords, which would be huge, but then Massa also has to be very careful because there is Banelings out. Scarlett trying to be careful as well, though, making sure that she takes an apt engagement, because she does only have 15 Banelings, and she really needs to clear this Terran army. But, oh, look at this from Massa. Just gonna dance around the Zerg player right now. Thors and Lings Thors and Marines actually going to cancel that base. A few Banelings crashed into that Thor, by the way. In come these Broodlords as well, going to be trying to engage into this Thor. Can Massa save it? The answer is no, but there's also a Liberator harassment going down at this location here. Queen and Spore will clean that up. Meanwhile, an engagement going down at this front, but it doesn't. It's kind of still concerning for Scarlett as like 6 Banelings detonate on that one Marauder, because the Terran player has just shut down that base once more. Meanwhile, Massa just teching up non-stop. I mean, he wasn't super focused on the economy in the first place, but he's doing a good job keeping it going. He's getting up more and more bases, and Scarlett really hasn't been able to harass. She hasn't been able to reach that comfy late-game Zerg situation, which you have the ultimate army, and that's because Massa is not easing up on the aggression. Look at this, he's coming across the map with tanks when there's Broodlords out. This is just such a Massa style. Probably going to be looking for another base. Kites back his Marines, absorbs most of Scarlett's Banelings. No, not most, all of the Banelings. The Broodlords are going to try and push this back, and they very well should be able to because there's Infestors to cover them, but oh no, the Infestors wander forward. They get picked off. Scarlett making too many donations here to the red Terran, or to the blue Terran player, pardon me. So this is looking good for Massa. Massa once again coming in, picking off this hatchery, forcing a cancel. Scarlett has had no luck securing that base, and her economy is going to be running out of gas. She goes for 7 Infestors behind this. But I mean, I feel like it's always one thing or another. Like, she loses a bunch of Banelings, but then she makes them Infestors. She just hasn't really been able to build up enough. She has that hatchery canceled, rebuilds it, then gets it killed. Overconfident that she'd be able to repel Massa. They're just making a bit of a mistake. I understand wanting to be on the go, but that was a few too many Marines to rebuild your hatchery in the face of. And look at this, Massa just coming in with more and more units. I don't know if these Broodlords are going to be enough to push us back. There's really nothing on the ground to buffer for these 7 Infestors. We're on the way out, but it's not enough. Massa takes game number 1 versus Scarlett. Fantastically played there from the red Terran player. And, yeah, or blue Terran, pardon me. I'm getting my colors mixed up, guys. It's just one of those days. One of those weeks, you know, like, I may be a hypochondriac, but maybe I'm getting sick or something like that. Or, so I was like, all right, my voice was kind of like, I was a little stuffy earlier. I'm feeling better now, though, but it's like, oh, if it makes a resurgence, I want to do a cast now. So I got right home. I got into this game, and I wanted to cast it. It's just one of those days, you know, that you want to do a cast. And if you ever cast Starcraft 2, or even play Starcraft 2, it applies, I think. You just want to be involved in Starcraft 2. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, while we're loading on into the next game, make sure to hit that like button, as is the goal per usual. Let's try and break 20 likes on this video. You guys have knocked the last ones out of the park. Can we get 20 likes for Massa, or can we get 20 likes for Scarlett? Preferably 20 likes for both of them, but I don't know if that one's going to be happening. We're still working on getting the YouTube channel to that number. But no, the support you guys have shown the channel has been really great. Let's try and do it again, though. It's literally just pressing an easy button, and believe it or not, it does help out the channel. And of course, leave a comment down below. I mean, I do read every single comment that gets made, whether it's about balance, the matchup, commentating, anything like that. And then, of course, make sure to check out my Discord and everything. I recently just made a new Discord, but then also when I say everything, I mean my Twitter account. I mean, I've got a Twitch account and everything. Those are all linked in the description. The main one right now is the new Discord. It's the new child, the new baby in the house, and just working on raising that on up. But yeah, so make sure to check that out. I also announce matches and things there. For example, right after I make this video, I'm about to go do the official announcement for the TvZ versus Dongregu show match, and that's going to be hyped. That is going to be out of this world. TvZ and Dongregu. I mean, I have in my mind how it's going to go. But yeah, that's another one of the game's invitationals. So not just commentating other StarCraft like WCS, putting out my own content still. Like those show matches like the Africa World, and then just covering other things. So feel free to subscribe to the channel if you aren't, because I'm always putting out these kind of videos and such. And let's just take a look here. A couple of drones on the way here. Hatchery on the way for Scarlett. Very normal opening here. Now, the map Thunderbird is a very, very macro-focused map. I mean, it's pretty much like a macro or cheese map because it's so well defensible. It's so easy to defend. And oh, look at this. This is the Massa flavor here. In case you're wondering if this Terran was just going to play like a straight up TvZ, the answer is no. He's going to go for a little bit of a bunker pressure. This is actually something I did when I first started playing Starcraft 2. I'm like, bunkers are good. And I still have that sentiment. Bunkers are good. I hammer on and on and on about how much I love bunkers pretty much all the time. As I'm like, always get a bunker if you're a Terran. It's always worth it. Massa saying, all right, always get a bunker, but this time on the Zerg side of the map. Although Scarlett, very good reaction. That one drone bullied that SCV away, cancels the bunker. Basically, all that bunker was going to be, it was going to be like a perk for the Reaper. And oh man, this Reaper could be getting this drone. Scarlett could be losing her drone. Oh, nice save though. Nicely done there from the Zerg, keeping that alive. But Massa gonna work away on this extractor, be a bit of a pain. Eventually that drone is gonna have to come out of hiding, cancel, or forever live life as an extractor, which is not what Scarlett wants it to do for now. So probably gonna have to cancel and restart that. Massa comes on in though. Oh, Scarlett, she doesn't actually cancel that. What Scarlett? I mean, I feel like she should have canceled that maybe a little bit earlier. Anyway, Scarlett going across the map here, picking off an SCV of the National Massa, so getting a bit of damage done, and Massa's actually a little bit locked out of his base, so his Reaper's gonna have to come back because he went right into that reactor tech. Scarlett sent a few lings across the map. They're now gonna hide on out, apparently, trying to avoid this Reaper that's on it, barreling home. And in case you were wondering where Scarlett's gonna take her next gas, I'm willing to bet it's here. Maybe she's like, whatever, I'll just mine gas from this at some point, so we'll see. That drone who became an extractor a little bit prematurely, if he gets use or not. Scarlett now has speed, so map controls hers again for a minute, but then the Hellions are going to pop out, so it's going to be that that swing, the yin and yang. Scarlett, by the way, fires up 10 drones, which is no small amount. A little bit concerning, though, because could be a bit worrisome, because there are a few Hellions out. You do need some lings to deal with that, but no, Scarlett just trying to reach a very healthy drone count very quickly. And would like to see a few more lings on the way, maybe some more queens firing up, because you got to be worried right now. Massa going for the good old fusion core, not just a regular Joe fusion core. This is the proxy fusion core, going to be trying to catch Scarlett off guard with a good old cattle bruiser rush. I mean, every Terran and their dog pretty much does this build, myself included, as the BCs. They're good. They're the bee's knees. And ladies and gentlemen, like the BCs, they're even better now versus Zerg, because it's arguable that you can mass them, because the Infester's just got a nerf. Yeah, the Infester's just got a nerf. The Raven anti-armor missile is very, very good. And then there's just a million ways to play mech. So if you get a good economy as a Terran and you want to make some BCs, I think it's definitely an option. So, yeah, very, very cool that that's a thing in the current meta. I've been enjoying that myself, maybe making like a few more BCs than I normally would. Probably gonna go BC rush some nerds after I do this commentary, because that's the mood I'm in. I'm gonna play some Starcraft. I'm gonna commentate some sick ZVT, and then maybe play some sick ZVT. Not as sick as this though, because Scarlett and Massa, they're a lot better than me. And we do take a look at this game. The battle cruiser is on the way. Meanwhile, the Viking just that's been trying to deny scouting, and so far effectively has. That fusion core not been spotted. But unsurprisingly, Massa going to be going for that third base behind this. Really no surprise there. The third is just such a classical Terran thing, basically, or such a classic thing on this map. Like, it's just so easy to macro on Thunderbird, and you want to get that up quick. And if I had to guess, well, I mean, it's easy for me to say that now that Massa just fired up 2 factories, but he's also securing his gases here, which is just like 100% mech confirmation. So we could be having a bit of a longer one here on the map Thunderbird. Mech versus Zerg here, coming out of Massa, which is an interesting choice. We'll see how well it's going to work out as this is going on. Yamato cannon is being researched from Massa, so not just going for the BCs that are a little bit lame. This thing's going to have some firepower in a little bit. Now the BC does teleport behind the Zerg space. It's going to be coming on and focusing down some drones for starters. Those drones are going to run. They're going to be like, uh-oh, 2 queens are here to try and deal with this. But oh, this BC could get this queen. Definitely should be able to. Nicely done there. That had a lot of energy. BC just going to continuously fly on over here, fly over these queens. Maybe can pick another one off. Scarlett does lose another queen so far, though. Those queens tanking to protect their younglings. Only 4 drones have died for this one BC. So 2 queens, 4 drones dying. Not bad for Massa. Definitely getting a bit of damage done. Looking for this overlord as well. Could get it. That would be nice. And I think Massa will. So nicely done there. Oh, the transfuse from Scarlett's like, oh, no, no, you are not taking my baby. As that queen keeps that overlord alive. As this is going on, Scarlett making a few banelings, which I love. The fact to go for a few banelings, because the Hellion run-bys are so natural to follow up the BC aggression or to tie in with it. So having banelings really shuts those down in an instant, as they're quite good for some Hellions. Scarlett trying to bait these Hellions into a bad spot. Meanwhile, the BC just flying on home. Gonna be pursuing this Overseer. This guy's gonna go down. And this Overseer rest in peace. But then we take a look at it. Scarlett making a few Corruptors. She definitely needs more than 3, but she's actually going up to like 8 or so. Also fires up a huge round of drones, by the way. Just made like 19 drones at once. Gonna be really saturating her 4th base. Looks like she's maybe starting up a 5th or something. Where's that drone going? Is that a 5th base drone right there? I want to say that's a 5th base drone coming out of Scarlett, which is great to see. 5 bases expanding early on in a macro game is very important, because right now Massa really isn't planning to kill Scarlett, so just investing in that, always a great choice. I feel this Overseer flying on in, confirming that it is indeed mech. No surprise there really once you see the Cyclones. Meanwhile, this Viking still flying around doing his thing. Not quite a battle cruiser, but he can pretend to be. One on the way here for the Terran player. Hive on the way. Triple Overlord. Scarlett does start that 5th base. I want to see her be so greedy. I even want to see her start a 6th base rather soon. Maybe not right away, but maybe in like a minute. I want to see her eyeing for a 6th base versus this meching Terran. We will see how well Scarlett is going to defend versus this, though. There are 3 battle cruisers out. Massa going for a 4th, though, so he shows no sign of stopping just yet. These Corruptors can come in and try and work away in the BCs. I mean, ideally, if you are Scarlett, you'll get the BCs to Yamato the Queens, not the Corruptors, because the Queens are more expensive. And oh, looks like they will eat that Yamato cannon, so the Corruptors can push the BCs back now. So that's actually worth it for Scarlett in a sense. You may be like, what are you talking about? She just lost 2 queens and the BCs yeeted on out of there. But it's actually good for Scarlett, believe it or not, because Corruptors are more expensive, and the queens, whatever. They're cheaper, better trade for Scarlett. The BC's now got to wait for that Yamato to come off cooldown, but oh, look at this, Massa. Got himself a serious number of Hellions here, and when I say a serious number, this is like an unholy amount of Hellions. Scarlett's going to need something to deal with this. She's got some Roaches, Ravagers, and Banelings coming on in. The Cyclones and Hellions probably just going to kite back versus this, so Bane's rolling for it. Do they get any decent connections? Massa trying to bait out those Banes there, and he baits out most of them. Corrosive Bile going down, but not quite getting the connections. Fungal growth goes down, then that's very huge for Scarlett. Those investments coming out at the right time with pathogen glands, by the way, so having the right amount of energy right away. Now, while we do take a look here, though, Massa going to be building up this game, getting up a 5th command center, getting up more and more CCs, always important as a Terran if you've got the economy. Massa up on supply for now. We take a look, though. Scarlett building up that Infestor Corruptor, going to be going to Broodlords relatively soon. Just needs to hold on versus these Cyclones and Hellions, and should be sitting well. +3 melee attack, +2 range attack for Scarlett. So our upgrades are also looking quite good here. Also making a fair few links for some reason. That's interesting. But then we take a look. In come the 4 DCs. Massa still continuously made these. There are Infestors that can try to work away on these, though. But look at this. Corrosive Bile going down. Battle cruisers getting picked off, although suddenly the BCs might be looking to push forward through. Infested Terran has to get thrown out the BCs. One of them got picked off there, a bit of a mistake from Massa letting that happen, but I think it might have just been coming off of that fungal growth, which battle cruisers can't teleport away under fungal growth. Scarlett, she lost the base there, or I believe she lost the base there, but anyway, she's still on 5 bases. She's getting out more Corruptors. We're going to push back these BCs. Motto Cannon's being dropped. There wasn't Corrosive Bile's being dropped. It's always hard to hit something that's flying and movable, but oh, look at this. Massa even bringing forward. There's one under BC that did not teleport away, and oh, Massa, big mistake. Loses a battle cruiser that was off teleport cooldown, and oh, gonna lose another here from these Corruptors. That is fantastic for Scarlett. I mean, the battle cruisers or the Corruptors take a lot of damage as a result, and it's fair if you get picked off, but I mean, you can lose a few Corruptors to get a BC. It is ultimately worth it as the Zerg, partially because they take so darn long to build, partially because they're so expensive. And now we take a look, a Broodlord on the way. 1 or 2 Broodlords enough to really zone out the Cyclones as well. Just very, very good in that sense. Scarlett probably wants to try and secure up another base soon. There we go, starting up that one. I wouldn't be surprised to see a double expand. They're so good, but oh, look at that. Fungal's going down on the Hellions and the Cyclones. Gonna be trying to catch as many of those as possible. Just forcing Massa to rebuild. So suddenly, Scarlett was down on supply, but she's now in the lead. Massa's army really has been thinned out. I mean, he's only at 3 BCs, and he was steadily trying to reach a critical count of those, I believe, because just trading out those BCs weren't getting the value needed, I don't believe. And so we see Massa with only 3 BCs again, making 2 at a time now. He was just making 1 for the longest time. He's really committing to these, but Scarlett already has out Infestors. Does she have out that Neural Parasite? No, she doesn't just yet. We need to see that start so that she can grab the BCs, but Fungal can do that in the meantime. And we take a look here. Cyclone's coming on in. Trying to get a bit of harassment, then not too much. Scarlett focusing on keeping this base alive as well, expanding to the right. Of course, the BCs are looking to get something done, and these Broodlords could be in a bit of trouble. Massa identifies those, but of course, the Zerg responding, getting into position. And just look at this. I'm feeling pretty good for Scarlett in this situation. It's up in the air whether Terran can play out the complete late game versus Zerg. There's definitely ways to win in the late game for Terran. But as far as Massa, losing those 3 BCs, mainly just to not teleporting them out. He really should have just only blocked 1. If you're a Terran and you go BCs, you really don't have an excuse for losing them. Meanwhile, these BCs dump their Yamato cannon, teleport out, getting a nice bit of value there. Always worth it as well. This Liberator coming on in, going for a bit of harassment. Just making that work. Advanced Ballistics are out for Massa as well, so Mass Liberator is an option. Liberator BC definitely could be a composition, believe it or not, as they help zone out those Infestors. Meanwhile, in comes the Terran, cleaning up as much creep as possible. Scarlett's still not able to secure this base to the right. She is securing this base here, though, which is very nice. Those rich Vespene geysers are so good, by the way, for a Zerg who's going to be able to make a lot of Infestors. So you probably want to go for those if you're Scarlett. So I'd take those extractors, those geysers right away if you're Scarlett. Meanwhile, these BCs sharking around looking for something that they can get. I mean, Massa powering up on his upgrades, making more of these BCs. Spore Crawler's really just buying time at this point. The drones are going to run away. Maybe Massa can get this hatchery. That would be a nice pickoff, and I believe he's going to be able to get it, even using a Yamato cannon or 2. Got to be careful, though, not to get fungled. I mean, if he gets fungled, he could lose all these BCs. There we go. 2 of them get fungled. Scarlett dumping more. A 3rd even gets fungled. None of these are going to get out of here if there's another fungal from Scarlett, and there it is. Suddenly, Massa losing more of the BCs. Okay, one of them does get out, which is nice, but then we take a look. That was still 2 more BCs going down. If Massa hadn't lost BCs, he'd be at 13 right now. The difference between 13 and 7 BCs is absolutely immense. And it takes so long to build these up. The fact that he's been losing these is taking longer before the threat becomes real for Scarlett. It's giving her more time to get ready. She hasn't really been sweating too much this game. And yeah, she's just spreading creep, doing her thing. And this is very, very good for the Zerg. We take a look at the resources lost. As a matter of fact, it's in the lead for the Zerg at this point. The Terran wants to have the early game resources lost lead as long as possible, because in the late game, it does go the Zerg's favor generally. And I don't know if this is going to work out for Massa, if he's going to be able to make anything happen. I mean, there's always a chance that he can just get like some juicy Yamatos, teleport away, do that a number of times. But Scarlett on point, looking around. Liberator getting some harassment at these bases, which is very nice. Trying to get anything that he can. But still, for Massa, you got to be so careful. That's one of the things about the BC army, because they're no good. The BCs are absolutely no good if they get caught by the Infestors. And oh, look at this. Massa actually just teleports back. Oh, gonna catch a fair few queens here, which is gonna be very nice. Just teleports them in. Doesn't have that as an escaper, but dumps a few Yamatos. Gonna catch a Brood Lord or 2. Okay, gets some value there. Uses all of his spells, really, but that works out for him. So nicely done by Massa. He's maybe looking to push on in, which I feel like you gotta be so careful if you're the Terran, because you don't have that teleport for the BCs to escape anymore. Massa just pushing on in with Cyclones and Liberators, really. If you can catch some of the Infestors in the Liberation Zones, that would be huge. And I think it looks like Massa may be able to get 1 or 2. No, not quite. So Scarlett's still doing a good job here taking care of this. The BCs, though, they go on in, they shred up a ton of drones, attacking this base. This is a large chunk of Scarlett's gassing them, so Scarlett wants to keep that alive. The 1 BC gets parasitic bombs there. That doesn't really work out well for the Terran. I mean, Parasitic Bomb's still a very lethal spell, but as far as Terran units that can handle it, it really is the battle cruiser. I mean, Vikings, they'll just die to it pretty quickly, or die to a couple, but Terrans, with their BCs, they can handle a fair few Parasitic Bombs, and that's why Zergs are a little bit, do have a tough time dealing with BCs, sometimes because they can't just use Parasitic Bomb just to do it. Like, if a Terran goes, say, Mass Viking or Mass Liberator, 1 or 2 Parasitic Bombs removes almost all their health. The BCs, they can actually tank a few and stay alive in a bit of a lengthier fight, and then not necessarily just like all explode at once like other Terran area units do. We see Liberators getting set on up, trying to zone out these Infestors. Yamato cannons go down on some of the Infestors. That's actually most of the Scarlet Spellcasters going down. The BCs have been tagged, but actually that's like almost all of them going down. There's only like, there's actually no more bundles, so these BCs do need to teleport out. There we go, Massa gets out with most of his BCs. I mean, he lost a few there, but he picked off a fair few Infestors. I think that one was actually worth it for him there, how many Infestors he got. How many Cyclones, by the way, locking away in a Brood Lord or 2. Although this is concerning for Massa, doesn't really have any anti-air that's other than these BCs. So, oh, look at this Scarlett with the Killer's Instinct coming on in. Corruptors are getting Yamato Cannon, but BC is getting focused down. This is fantastic for the Zerg, picking off these very expensive units. In comes Ravager, is going to be able to pick off SCVs, other ground units, Corrosive Vials landing, forcing the Terran player back. And I don't know if there's enough firepower here. I mean, it looks like Scarlett will be pushed back here. The battle cruisers do eventually win out. Their upgrade's very, very serious. I mean, able to chew through that Terran, chew through that Zerg air army for now anyway, but as I say that, more Corruptors coming on in. That's some of the beauty for Zerg. You're able to just fire up more and more units right away, so we take a look at the supply. This is looking very, very good, and there's no real more BCs on the way. I mean, there's Liberators here to help versus the Corruptors, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think Scarlett may get pushed back here. Again, we'll see more Corruptors are coming on out. It's really just the one BC and a ton of Liberators here. The BC is still alive for now. The Liberators, they need to work away in the Broodlords as soon as possible, but then we take a look. The Corruptors are coming back, and Corruptors are so good versus BCs. They're so good versus Liberators. I think Massa might just die out here. He's desperately trying to counter the air army by making Cyclones and 5 Vikings at a time. But, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to repel the Zerg. The supply is really good for Scarlett. Massa needs to be muling for days to make sure that his economy stays online. Meanwhile, Vikings are now out for the Terran player, so he may be able to repel these Corruptors and Broodlords. It's going to be close, though. Scarlett is making more and more units. It's going to be so, so close, but the snowball does seem to be happening here. And yeah, that's going to be it. Massa taps out as Scarlett ties up the series 1-1, as they've each taken a game now. And what a fantastic series so far, but Scarlett showing that she's got a good grasp how to deal with that Terran mech. And Massa just lost too many BCs there. Like, I'm curious to see a game in which maybe we'll even see it this series of if Massa makes like mass BCs, but he doesn't lose so many early on. The thing is, he would have been able to poke, he would have been able to take better fights, because with BCs, it really works one of two ways. Okay, there's 3 ways that a BC can operate. The first is that it can go in, and then the attacks will get nothing done. Your army will just fold because the Zerg will have the critical mass of Corruptors or whatever, and the correct response, and the BCs will just seem useless. The second is a BC can do the harassment, which you go in, you Yamato Cannon, get some guaranteed kills, and teleport out. That really allows the Terran player to go longer in the game by getting good trades that way. But then the third way is in which you have enough BCs, which you will just roll all over your opponent with them. Because say you'll have like 10 BCs, your opponent will have like 15 Corruptors and a few Infestors, and doesn't have the right unit composition. But Massa, for starters, he lost BCs, and then Scarlett had the correct unit composition to deal with what BCs that he did have. Because, like, losing BCs is not something that you can do. Like, it is such a huge loss, every one that dies. And, so a very tough unit to use. It's very tough to say. I mean, I liked how Massa was playing the mech style, but in the end, Scarlett, she just did a good enough job defending and everything, and played a very good game. Now, here we are in map number 3. It's World of Sleepers. It's Massa and Scarlett. 2 very, very good players, playing a fantastic series so far. We'll see how, map number 3 is gonna, map number 3 is gonna go between them. Who's gonna take the lead in this series? I mean, I'm big fans of both of these players. I mean, yeah, but by the way, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to leave a like on this video for that attempt from BCs for Massa and for Scarlett showing Zergs how to deal with the BCs. So let's try and break that 20 like mark. Alright, if you excuse me here, just gonna check out what team. Okay, pardon me, Massa is not on Elevate anymore. That was quite a while ago. He's actually on OSC Elite still, which is a very good team. So correction there, I do apologize to OSC Elite for misnaming their player. He was on Elevate for a while, but that's just me drawing back. And Scarlett is on a Korean team. Let's take a look, or a Chinese team, Newbie Gaming. So I always like to mention the teams that a StarCraft 2 player is on, because like they make it a lot more realistic to be a pro player. Like some of them, I mean, the support you get from a team obviously varies, but some players, like I think it's fair to say, like good players like Massa and Scarlett, they probably get a salary from their team, and then pretty much guaranteed trips to all the events that they attend and everything. So that's really cool for them as players, but yeah, I just always like to shout out the teams for that reason. Oh, this is very good for Massa. Making Marines early on, gonna catch the first Overlord for Scarlett. Tries to make it to that high save point, but not quite, and that's a pretty big loss. 2.5 minutes into the game, Scarlett loses her first Overlord, which definitely hurts, losing that one. Meanwhile, Massa just making a few Marines here. He skipped the Reaper, and that's because he's going for a very quick third CC, scaring his opponents. Scarlett has not confirmed that there's a natural base just yet. I mean, she can probably assume. But what she doesn't know is the fact that Massa has gone for a ridiculously early third base. This is a third base, no factory, no gas really behind it until very late now. So Massa playing incredibly greedy. His mineral economy, if he gets away with this, is going to be sick. That is all I can say. It's going to be so, so good. And then, yeah, let's take a look here. Massa going for a bunker at the natural. So, so important if you're going to be playing just like a greedy style like this. Really relying on the bunker strength is something very smart, I feel. But then we take a look at this. Massa getting up a factory, getting up that third barracks. So his production is going to slowly start coming online off the back of what's going to be a very good economy here. We take a look. The Terran's third is already done and transforming into an orbital. The Zerg's third is not done. That tells you something about the timing, because in the vast majority of StarCraft 2 games, the Zerg's third is so much quicker. We see Scarlett. She's gone for pneumatized carapace. She's going to scout this out. Massa, if he can get this Overlord for starters, that would be a very nice pickoff. Scarlett does come on in, though. She sees the barracks. She hasn't seen, like, stim researching or anything like that. Sees the factory, sees the barracks. Maybe that's all that she needs to know in order to identify the fact that there is a third base. But look at this. Scarlett's going for a spine crawler. Is she worried about an attack or something like this? Is she worried like a mass barracks play? Because a spine crawler and a roach warren really says that she's concerned about something, when in reality she comes on in, sees the natural, and there should be a dead giveaway here, by the way. Scarlett, oh, by the way, this mule really needs to get mining. That's a bit of a mistake from Massa. Not having, one of his mules got stopped here when the links came in. Scarlett needs to identify that this is a third base, and needs to try and make something happen. We see she's going to a lair and going to a roach warren, but this is just a really greedy play for Massa. She should have identified the fact that it's a third CC play based on the fact that she saw 3 mules at the natural of the Terran. That's a giveaway there. Terran having 3 mules, because you only are usually dropping 2 if you got 2 CCs. 1-1 on the way for the Terran player. The Zergs just getting up her evos. Her lair's on the way, and Scarlett's now just making a big round of drones, but the economy of Massa is going to be fantastic at this point. The Marine's going to start spewing out as this production comes online. I'd like to see combat shields start for Massa right away, or as soon as he gets the gas. While this is going on, though, double medivacs now on the way out for Massa. Going to be able to start dropping all over the place, and it's safe to say at this point that Massa has gotten away with this greed, and this has been an incredibly greedy play here from the Terran. Like, any sort of Zerg aggression would have punished this super duper hard. But now we see Scarlett making a few roaches at this point in the game. She's got to be a bit scared. She's now got to get ready for the aggression coming out of Massa, when in reality, if she had sniffed that out, if her Overlord had gone in a bit further, like, Massa would have been... Scarlett would have been able just to drone up so much more, so much earlier on, when in reality, we take a look at the worker count, it's just going up now. I bet Massa's been in the income lead for quite a while. There we go. We see those mule spikes thanks to that triple orbital. Now, Scarlett's economy is getting a little bit better here, but then Massa secured his own third, dropping those mules again. Like, his economy is so good at this point. It cannot be overstated. In goes these Marines looking for a potential fourth base. They'll see nothing of the sort, but Massa, he can now start dropping all over, start harassing all over, and this is just such a good spot here for the Terran player. Like, you may just be like, well, Scarlett's taken no damage, really. Well, for starters, she lost the early Overlord, which set her back a little bit. Nothing too significant in the game, but just the greed that Massa has got, it's just gonna pay off dividends. He trades out with a queen or two and a roach or two, by the way, there. 2 roaches, actually. So, very, very nice for Massa. His 1-1 now done. He starts up his +2 attack. We'll probably see that armor go up. There we go. So, an upgrade lead, or at least on par upgrades to the Zerg going already. And then he's just going to have so much bio here. And the thing is, Scarlett is playing a mass roach style. Now, the thing about the mass roach early on that works out is that you really overwhelm the Terran in numbers, but that's not even really going to be the case, I don't feel, because Massa's production is just so monstrous at this point. His economy is going to be so good here, and he's just powering up already, and look at this, Massa comes on in, he picks off the 4th base of Scarlett. He was out of position, or she was out of position, pardon me, just trying to secure that base. And Massa, yeah, he manages to find Scarlett out of position there. We see Drilling Claws on the way for Massa, just going to be powering up Widowmine style. I mean, you might want tanks versus the Roaches, but either way, this is just such a good spot for the Terran. Canceling the Zerg's force is huge. And, oh, look at this. Insult to injury here. In comes Massa. Couldn't deny the Zerg space again. Scarlett losing that location. Ouch, ouch, ouch is all I can say. This drop here, Massa just trying to pull Scarlett apart, loads up into his medivacs and gets away, and meanwhile he is just building up a disgusting amount of Marines here while this has been going on. Look at this. If I am Scarlett right now, I am concerned, because look at that, so much Terran bio crossing the map. Like, this is just a Zerg with Roach Ravager too, really, that has to stop all of this Terran coming across the map. Scarlett, she needs to make, like, a mass amount of Banelings and hope for a miracle engagement. Meanwhile, she's trying to get up an Ultra Cavern and Vipers, but the attack that Massa is going to be going for, this is going to be so strong here. The supply is so far ahead off the back of this greedy economic play from Massa, and it is going to pay dividends here. Look at this. This bio is coming in. There's really no Banelings to help defend. I think Scarlett's just going to fold here. There's a bit of a drop coming in from the Terran in the main base of the Zerg as well. The Zerg trying to build up enough supply here, but it's just not enough here. These Marines really overstimmed. You got to be careful with your Mosses. The Ravagers actually able to pick them off somewhat decently, so quite overstimmed there, but then take a look at this, just trading out with these Raptors, going okay. Meanwhile, a drop at the 3rd base, picking off a few Lings, not being cleaned on up here, picking off a few drones. Scarlett needs to deal with that. She's got up her 4th base online now, mining that high-value gas will be nice. But then we take a look. I mean, Massa on the way to his +3 attack, getting up a 4th orbital command. I mean, Scarlett did do a good job of holding that attack, we gotta say, but oh, look at that fantastic Widowmine shot there, killing off 15 Lings. There's got to be an Overseer coming on in here. Okay, a few Corrosive Vials going down on those. Will be nice. Meanwhile, Massa going for some Liberator harassment. Scarlett's really got to stay on point with her defense from here on out because she's still down in army supply. This is still a very scary Terran. You got to give it to her, though. She's stayed alive. I mean, I thought she could have just died to that push there, but she managed to make it happen. Massa really overstimmed there, I feel. Wasn't quite able to break his opponent. We see, though, in comes Massa, going to be able to pick off the 4th base of his opponent here, and Scarlett can actually save this critical hatchery here. I mean, you don't want to be having hatcheries canceled too much as a Zerg, and Massa just this series has been on point with that. And oh, look at this, Liberator harassment hitting this critical mining base of Scarlett. She needs to get something there to defend. Ultras are going forward. Baneling's moving forward to try and shut down this drop of Massa. But look at this. Yeah, this Liberator still harassing here. Scarlett been pulled back and forth again and again. There has been nothing moved over here to defend this location. This is so much lost mining time here. Scarlett's income has just plummeted. Look at that. The lead really extending for Massa there. The second that Liberator is seen coming on in. Parasitic Bomb going down on a Medivac, but Scarlett, like, this base has been denied for so long. She literally waited for a Spore Crawler to build. She is losing more drones to this. She was trying to get that gas going again. She'll eventually reclaim the space, but we see she's fallen in supply here. And this just really, really hurts for the Zerg player. In comes a Viper too, but oh, look at that. One of the Vipers gets picked off. Massa, good split off there, not taking extra damage on his Medivacs. I mean, Scarlett is still alive in this game. She's got Ultralisks, which are incredibly good at this point. But then we take a look at it. The upgrades, she's going to be at 2-2 Ultras. Massa heading into 3-3 Bio, so that's not too bad. There's no +3 armor in sight for the Zerg, which really makes the Ultras unkillable. And Terrans have got so good at dancing around the Ultras at this point too. And look at that. What was that structure? Was that the Baneling Nest? Yeah, that was the Baneling Nest that got picked off there. And oh, a drop from Scarlett going towards this base. Drones just being focused on this. Ultra will be a hero, just annihilate those Marines, but 14 drones died before that. Scarlett has yet to be able to secure this base, and it's not happening now either. In comes Massa, focusing down the 5th base of the Zerg there, gets the cancel. A Parasitic Bomb goes down on the Medivacs again, but look at that, Massa on point, splitting them off. Now, I mean, Scarlett, you gotta commend her for trying to kill Massa's Medivacs, because he's a Terran who really, really neglects making them at times. He really overstims his bio sometimes, but he's just doing a fantastic job keeping them alive from the Parasitic Bomb. Scarlett going off creep, trying to pick this location off. Meanwhile, Widowmine's getting connections there. The army of the Zerg is just so small. I mean, it's powerful in the form of these Ultras, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Scarlett trying to pursue, get some good Widowmine, or get some good Baneling connections there. Meanwhile, Corrosive Bile's landing, but there's only one Ultra left. There's not enough here for the Zerg. Scarlett wearing thin. Her economy just wasn't able to keep up. Massa's stimming forward for the win right now. 2 more Ultras popped out. I mean, they're very strong units here. They've got their equal upgrades. They've got their tightness plating. Looks like they may be able to push the Terran back for now. But I mean, Massa just re-lands. He's just going to kite. Widowmine's getting potential future connections there on the Ultras, and it's just not enough. Massa able to whittle down the Zerg there and take game number 3 in a fantastic fashion, looking fantastic. And let me tell you, I am loving Starcraft 2 right now. Just in the forum that we're seeing some of these players play, like, it is fantastic to see players like Massa playing well. I may come off a little bias here because it's partially true, but players who don't necessarily have massive shinings or anything like that. And I mean, Scarlett's playing well so far, but maybe she can bring it back. But it seems that it's just the classic Zerg thing in which you try and play your style, the Terran capitalizes, and you fall apart. And Massa really has this figured out. Maybe Scarlett needs to, like, adjust her style or something. Maybe cheese, maybe like a Dirty Nidus. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Scarlett. But no, I'm really enjoying the form we're seeing some players play. Like, we're seeing Hero Marine play incredible. Like, I'm going to rattle off Terrans, but, like, he's playing very well. And then we see players like Dream coming back and doing incredibly well. We see even Dongray Gu as well playing very good again. And then just other players, like, just looking so good at times. It's fantastic to see, like, a real renaissance of players coming back and just looking good. It's like anyone's game in a sense. We're seeing impressive Starcraft all around. Now, let's take a look here. Spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. He needs to win this next one, and he takes it. It's Massa. Meanwhile, in the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's Scarlett, playing for Team Newbie. Massa on OSC Elite. And we'll see how this is going to go. I mean, Massa he went for a risky strategy. I mean, that strategy that he went for was no less risky than like a 2-Rax or anything, because Scarlett could have easily punished that if she had decided to go for some sort of aggression. Massa would have just died. That was such a greedy 3rd command center, and I love the fact that Massa is willing to go for that kind of greed and just play the game out. Because make no mistake, it's not like Scarlett made like major blunders with her army or anything. She was just behind because of that 3rd CC getting so much value for the Terran. Let's take a look. Overlord crossing the map. I mean, nothing too early going on this game, but as usual, I could be breaking these casts up into like best of ones or whatever, or just individual matches, but I choose to do them all in one big part. So that's why I say pretty much at the start of every match or at the end of every match, give or take, make sure to press that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try and break 20 likes on this video. As long as we keep breaking 20 likes on these, I will cast more of these sick WCS best of 5s. So make sure to try and hit that mark there. And I mean, it really does help you guys showing your support for this. By the way, Massa going for the cheeky bunker once again. Scarlett shut that down in the last game, but gonna be able to shut it down again. Massa seems to have been figured out a little bit here by Scarlett. So that's nice to see Scarlett doing that, shutting down that bunker. That little bit of aggression that Massa goes for. I love the choice to go for a bunker like that from the Terran. But yeah, as I was saying before, make sure to press that like button on these videos and leave a comment and such. Just let me know how you're doing. I'll maybe read out some comments sometimes again. But yeah, because I don't post these on Reddit. I don't post them on Twitter even really too much, because these matches have been covered by like the main or some of these matches, not all of them, have been covered by the main WCS stream, and I don't want to spam them around or anything, but I know some of you guys didn't watch the main tournament, that's why I cover these, and I know some of you guys enjoyed my commentary, that's why I cover these. But as far as like trying to promote them a little bit, I don't really want to like spam people like with matches that have already been broadcast and such. So yeah, anyway, Queen trying to push that Reaper away. Massa once again going for a very quick third command center, showing a very greedy playstyle once more. This time it's not a 3 racks follow-up, it is off the back of a factory. So a different sense of greed, but still very greedy nonetheless. It's a sub 3-minute command center. The Zerg not started her third base already yet. And if there ever is a time for Scarlett tinnitus, now is the game. Do it now. Do it now, Scarlett. Oh god, that was absolutely horrendous. Oh man, maybe I'm casting a bit too much Starcraft, because I think the more I cast, the more incoherent I become with my ramblings. But yeah, third base on the way for Scarlett. Starport on the way for Massa, so just macroing up behind this. Sometimes there's a Terran sometimes there's a Terran build, which it'll be like a Fusion Core or whatever right after this Starport, and then so 3cc Battle Cruiser Rush, which is a very greedy build, incredibly susceptible to Nidus and such. And I mean, we might not see Massa go for that, which I think would be very important. So now let's take a look here. Hellions on the way. Nothing coming out of the Starport just yet. We could see Cloak Banshee or something. There's a Banshee on the way, which I really like. Help shut down roaches, but still susceptible to Nidus. That's why I love to see Zergs go for a Nidus every now and again versus Terran. Like, it's such a good build. Now, Massa has been scouting out his opponent, but still, I feel like someone like Scarlett should be going for a Nidus every now and then, as she is very good at aggressive play, but not going to be this game. She's just making a handful of roaches so far, just the safety roach number, in order to deal with these Hellions. They will be popping out in just a second, just in time really too, to try and shut down these Hellions. But oh no, the Hellions coming in from Massa. A fantastic Reaper grenade bounces that roach, and I mean, these Hellions are getting cleaned up, but oh, the shot. Scarlett pulled her drones into the Hellions, and they just got absolutely annihilated there. Scarlett, oh man. I was just talking how I thought that should be okay, but only one roach popped out of the natural. A fantastic Reaper grenade for Massa, and then Scarlett lining the drones up nicely for Massa just to toast them up. And we see 14 drones go down like it was nothing. Beautifully done there from Scarlett. Let's take a look. Roaches and Ravagers going to try and cross the map, but Massa, after going for a play like this, has the Banshee out, completely shuts down any Roach counterattack, and I think Scarlett could just GG here. The amount of damage that she's taken, she's now given up 3-4 Ravagers here to this Banshee, as she felt like she needed to go for a counterattack. But yeah, look at this. This is so good here for Scarlett. She is now down a disgusting amount of workers. There's going to be a big Ling counterattack here from the Zerg to try and make something happen. Maybe these Lings can make something happen, but oh, look at this. The Banshees for Massa spot this coming, so he knows the Hellions are going to get fantastically lined shots off. The bunker is going to be attempted to be broken here, but these Lings have got a ton of work to do. Scarlett just making a few drones kind of haphazardly, or secondarily, but no, this attack is going to be cleaned on up, and I wouldn't put it past Scarlett just to GG. I mean, she's trying to re-secure her drone count here. She pulled the Banshees back, which is very nice, but oh man, that is so much damage here from Massa. But this is WCS. Scarlett isn't going to give up just like it's nothing. She is droning like a crazy person, because yeah, I mean, like, she got 5 SCVs, which is a nice bit of damage, but still, it really hurts. Massa, by the way, securing his third base. The Banshees, though, oh man, they can move across the map. Scarlett going for Spore Crawlers now, though, which is actually pretty good timing, dare I say. Like, these are really, really late spores to deal with Banshee harassment, but that counterattack did push back the Terran. But, oh, look at this. Massa just cleaning up creep tumors. Scarlett, though, we take a look. She's up to 58 drones, so no longer down in workers. I mean, keep in mind, she was down in workers versus the Terran there after losing 14. And this is still going to be a very tough spot to come back, but I mean, Scarlett, I mean, she's looking okay so far. Just got to defend versus the Banshees. Oh, there's no queen at the natural just yet, so these drones are going to have to run. But there we go. In comes some queens. You just got to be very careful if you are if you're Scarlett, not to be picked apart too much by these Banshees. I mean, she's doing an okay job. Spore Crawler's repositioning. Queen able to work away in these Banshees. One of them does get focused down. The other needs to run behind that Spore Crawler. Oh, she does go down, though, so Massa is getting some sick value here with these Banshees. And oh, look at this. I love it when a Terran player does this, goes to work on the hatchery. Believe it or not, Cloak Banshees are capable of killing hatcheries if the Zerg doesn't respond properly. So Massa just bullying the Zerg player still. Scarlett having a real tough go at it. She fires up 13 more drones to try and deal with this. There is now an Overseer out, though, for Scarlett. The Queen is going to be able to push back the Banshees. And now she's got to play it out from here, though. We take a look. Massa crossing the map with a ton of Marines and Marauders here. There's even Banshees in the mix. Scarlett has got to make a ton of Roaches to hold on right now. This is going to be a very tough hold here for the Zerg. There is Ravagers. Ferocibile could be what she needs. Ferocibile hits one of the Banshees. That's a good start for the makings of a defense, but the tank on the high ground getting good shots off there on the Ravagers, and these Ravagers really bottled up right now. Roaches coming forward for Scarlett, but there's just not enough at her third base to hold on. She does make Massa hesitate, though, but in comes these Marines, in comes these Marauders. I mean, the Banshees have gone down, but is it enough? Can Scarlett push us back? She's killing off the tank on the right side, but her third base is being ransacked, and that's GG. Massa takes the 3-1 over Scarlett, showing a fantastic Terran versus Zerg there. Beautiful, beautiful play from Massa, able to make it happen, and in the end, we've got ourselves just a Terran player who showed incredibly good play, and Scarlett, she just falls, but I feel like she just, maybe it was a little bit too rigid in her Zerg style or something like that. It's tough to say really what went wrong. I mean, the obvious, losing the drones to the Hellions there, but yeah, that just went very, very well for Massa. Anyway, thanks so much to everyone for tuning on in here. I really hope you've enjoyed this cast. If you did, I'm going to say it once more. There's a few things to do. Press that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, feel free to subscribe. I put out a lot of these commentaries. Like, I try and do one once a day. That's my goal as a YouTube content creator. So you get your daily fixes StarCraft 2 here. I'm not going to shout to the skies like, get your daily content here, like some people may do. But no, I do put out pretty regular content, so subscribing, pressing that bell icon so you get a notification, of course. And then I'm going to go ahead and say it. Check out my new Discord channel. I mean, it's a good way to communicate with me. We're going to try and build that up. Maybe it'll really turn into something. But yeah, thanks so much to everyone for watching. In the meantime, this has been LaughNgamez. I will see you next time. Take care.